Competitive offers. It's all we're dealing with right now, and there's benefits and pitfalls to competitive offers, even if you are a seller. So I'm going to go over some of the benefits and the pitfalls, and maybe what you can be looking for or your agent can be helping you with in order to make sure that you get the benefit and maybe don't fall into the pitfall. So first of all, make sure your agent is giving the seller a complete offer, complete with all attachments. People can go, oh, well, we'll get that attachment later and don't worry about it. It's just this extra thing that needs to be signed. It's still a part of the contract in most cases with those, and the buyer can get out of the contract if they don't have it. So if you're a buyer, you want to make sure that the seller knows that you're all in, they've got all the paperwork and it's done. Escrow with that offer. Make sure your agent is taking an escrow check from you or you're wiring it to the title company. You will get that back if the offer doesn't go through. You will get that money back within 7 to 10 days. But if you include escrow deposit and a decent escrow deposit, not one that you could care less if you really did walk away from, but it really shows the seller that you're willing to go the extra mile and that you're really serious. The benefit of that for you is you might get your offer picked. The benefit for the seller is that they know you're serious. The pitfalls to not having a complete offer and not having escrow with the offer is they don't think you're serious and they can get out of the contract. I can't stress enough also how important it is the benefit of using an agent that has a good reputation. I'm sure a lot of agents have this experience. I had this experience where my offer gets picked over other offers, even sometimes when it's not the highest or the most, all the points aren't as on point, because they say, Laurie, we know you're a straight shooter, we know what you say goes, and we know you're not afraid to work both ends of the transaction to get it closed, which I don't recommend, you tell people that. But make sure your agent is good at what they do. They've been doing it and have a good proven track record. They're up on all the latest contracts and things, and that they play nice in the sandbox with people. If they're not playing nice in the sandbox, oftentimes realtors will just tell their clients, you just really don't want to work with this realtor. It happens all the time. So I'm sure that your agent, if it's not me, you have a great agent, but that's one of the reasons oftentimes mine get picked, is because they know who they're dealing with on the other end. So that would be another benefit of the agent that you pick and how important that is. The last thing I'm going to go over is the escalation clause. Escalation clauses, I've been using them for 20 years, but most of the agents in this market, it's new for them in the last 2 or 3 years. Escalation clauses, as you know, are when people make an offer, but they're willing to go higher than that offer. Well, the benefit of that is, as a seller, you might get more money. The drawback of that is a buyer, after they're through with the drama of the bidding and winning, that they start to get buyer's remorse and they're afraid that they paid too much, so they want to back out of the deal. And then it makes it harder to get to the finish line. So escalation clauses and more money is great if the buyer really is in and invested in it. Don't forget that if you have a lender involved, it's got to appraise. So if the property doesn't appraise, you can say you'll pay $50,000 over the asking price, but if it doesn't appraise, the lender's not going to lend you the money. So if you have a lender that says, no, my buyer can bring the differential between the appraised price and the sales price, make sure you get that in writing as well. Have your agent make sure they get that in writing. In writing counts, folks. It's not all about, oh, but they said. If it's a cash deal, then oftentimes there still is an appraisal contingency. But even if a cash buyer says, oh, well, I'm a cash buyer, so I don't have to have an appraisal contingency, they still can get out of the deal on other things. So make sure that your agent is really feeling their way through all the little points and things like that. The other thing is the contract that they use. If it's an as-is contract, which up until about a couple of years ago we used all the time, if it's an as-is contract and you have an escalation clause and you have a bidding war and you win, you can still get out on an inspection. So oftentimes I'm using the standard contract, which keeps both the buyer and the seller in more to the deal, but at least it sets up parameters in the beginning so that the seller knows that if he completes these things and abides by these things, he's going to close, and the buyer knows what to expect and that they're going to get what they want as well. So the standard contract holds both people in a little bit more, but it's much more clear and gives direction on how to move forward. So those are just a couple of items that I wanted to bring to your attention. Make sure that your agent is familiar with those things, and when you bring these things up to them, that they know what they're talking about and they feel comfortable with all that. And this market is still a great market. I know it's a little challenging right now, but it's very exciting, and there's lots of new areas that are coming up that you might want to live in. So if you are one of those people who is like, oh, well, I'd move, but where am I going to go? Give me a call. I have some really great areas I can share with you. All right, till later. Bye.